How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Another year, another version of iOS. However, this one is pretty different to all the rest of them. It's got lots of nice little quality of life improvements, along with some more drastic stuff. And in my opinion, as a digital minimalist, this has very much helped me streamline my phone experience. So today, I want to go over how I set up my phone, what I keep on it, and why I choose to keep it minimalist. Alright, so first of all, we have the lock screen. Now, of course, the lock screen was entirely redesigned on iOS 16. It's a lot more customizable. You can have different ones set based on your focus mode. I have 3 widgets, namely temperature, air quality, and battery. And I also have my reminders. This, in my opinion, is huge. I use the reminders app a lot. Whenever I really need to get something done, I will often just chuck it in the reminders. And to be able to see what I need to do next without actually having to unlock my phone and risk being distracted is awesome. I personally really love the new design. I have this Times New Roman-esque font for the clock. I love that the music widget now doesn't take up the whole page. And as I said, I like to keep as much here as I possibly can, so I can avoid unlocking my phone if I need to. But all in all, I think this is a really cool update, and I love the new home screen design. Next up, once we unlock my phone, we have the first page of apps. So this is, as I'm sure you're aware, stock apps, and I only really seem to keep the ones that I use here. Namely, these are FaceTime for, well, FaceTime, Photos, the App Store, Notes, which I actually still use to do all of my writing for this YouTube channel. Personally, I really like how it synchronizes across all my devices, and yeah, there are better options out there. However, over the time I've been using this app, I have just got to grips with it so well, I think the short-term cons would outweigh the long-term benefits. So I'm still on the Notes app. Next up, we have Settings, Wallet, which I keep all my train tickets in, as well as my card. Then we have my widgets. Personally, it did take me a long time to actually start using the widgets, but I think I've actually finally got a system that I really like. I got my clock, batteries where I can see my watch, phone, and headphones. This is just a slightly more detailed version of the lock screen. Personally, I do like keeping on top of how much charge I have left in my devices, so I actually really like this widget. We got my music widget. As you can see, I was listening to some tiny moving parts. I also obviously use the phone app, and iMessage as my secondary messaging service, along with the previously mentioned Apple Music. Now, I have in the past talked in a lot more detail as to why I really like Apple Music. Mainly, it's the library syncing feature, so I can sync my offline stuff from my Mac to my phone, and then I can listen to it on the go without actually having to download it. Finally, for this page, we have Safari. Now, Safari has been my browser of choice on all my devices for a pretty long time now, as I do just blatantly prefer it to Chrome. I'd been using Chrome for a very long time. Basically, as soon as it was released, I started using Chrome. Before that, I was on Firefox. However, because of how well Safari works with both my phone and my computer, along with features like handoff, there hasn't really been anything else that's caught my fancy, other than DuckDuckGo, because I studied computer science. Alright, so moving on to the second page, this is almost entirely third-party apps. Now, there are a couple of exceptions, as we will get to. Also, as some of you long-term viewers may have noticed, my folder system's back. I used to use the app library for a while, but I really didn't get on with it too well, and I found it took much longer to find apps that I actually wanted. I also found I would forget to uninstall apps I didn't use if they were tucked away, so I decided to entirely ditch it. Okay, so the first folder is the utilities folder. Now, this is where the stock apps live. However, there is one non-stock app here, namely the Panasonic app, which is the only good wireless control app. As some of you may have heard, I did recently go back to my trusty GH5. I went to Canon and Sony for a while, but honestly, I was let down every single time with the video performance or just usability. And yeah, found myself coming crawling back to the GH5. So the next folder is the biggest one. Social media. First off, we have Twitter, generally good for keeping up with some tech news or general nonsense. And while I try not to use this app too much, it is definitely my most used social media. Next up, we have YouTube. I mean, obviously I have this on my phone. That said though, YouTube is actually my favorite place for entertainment. There are so many good creators on YouTube. It's easy to just get stuck in, watch some cool videos. And yeah, again, while I do have to be careful not to use this app too much, it has definitely earned its place here. Next up, we have Instagram for photos and stories. I've been trying to use this more recently. I am posting a fair amount of stories on there, but I am kind of a perfectionist when it comes to the photos I take, so I don't really post photos on there too often. Next up, we have Proton Mail, which is now my main email service. Again, is it clear that I studied computer science? I personally like it because it's very secure, it's super encrypted, and I personally really like the interface. I also do think it's kind of cool that it was developed at CERN. Yeah, Proton Mail. Next up, we have Telegram, which is my main messaging service. Now, seeing as not all of my friends are on iOS, in fact, most of them are on Android. Also, none of us are big Facebook fans. Telegram is just what we gravitated towards. It's super fast, there's lots of fun stickers. It's also very encrypted. And yeah, we ended up on Telegram and it just kind of stuck. Next up, we have TikTok, which I actually don't use as much as everybody else does. I don't post as BubVisuals there at all. Like, it's my band's TikTok. And finally, for this folder, we have Reddit. Again, though, mostly for band stuff. The next folder is my health folder. First of all, we have Headspace, which is my favorite meditation app. It's got loads of features. It works with my Apple Watch. And yeah, I tried this during a difficult period back in 2019. And yeah, I just kind of stuck with it ever since. Next up, we have Patient Access, which if you're outside of the UK, this is our NHS medication management app. So if you want to order medication or book an appointment, all of it can be done through Patient Access. So I won't show you that. And finally, for my folder system, we have the music folder. First app I have is SND Wave for insight and listening tracking. Honestly, it's a super cool app that I initially found on Twitter, and I've been a fan of music tracking for a long time, actually. I used to use Last.fm. It was always fun seeing your scrobbles and what you've been listening to at a time. And while I think I do like Last.fm more, this is what I've got for now. And the final app I have in this folder system is Haptic. Now, I'm sure as some of you are aware from this massive amp in the background, I do personally play guitar, and if you play any instrument, then you will probably know it is good to practice doing metronome. It can help improve your timing, your technique, all that good stuff. However, I don't really like traditional metronomes, and that's where Haptic comes in. See, Haptic also works as an Apple Watch app. To use this app, I essentially set my BPM on the phone app, put my watch on my wrist, and then it vibrates to the BPM. In my opinion, this is a seriously cool concept, and yeah, big fan of this app. And as for most of my apps, that's pretty much it. There are a few games that I like to keep in my app library because, again, I really don't like keeping them on my home screen because I find they distract me. But as for the app library, that's pretty much it. As I said, I like to keep everything that I use both organized and close together because, again, something I learned in computer science is that when designing a user interface, nothing should be more than 3 clicks away. So I try to incorporate that into my phone usage. You might have also noticed a lot of these apps are also compatible with my Apple Watch, which I started using this year, and so I personally like to try and use cross-platform apps. If something works on my phone, my watch, my iPad, my computer, then typically that is the app I will go for. I also do use iCloud to help with this, along with a good host of the Apple stock apps. Because this keeps everything nicely centralized and organized for me, this helps me think of what I'm doing more and how I'm doing it less, which means I can be more creative and get less bogged down by the technical side of things. Alright guys, so that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know, by the way, what was your favorite feature added to iOS 16? Was it the home screen? Was it some of the little quality of life improvements like the search bar on the home screen? Feel free to let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading those. As for now though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.